It's time for your Low Country real estate market update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Good morning, hello, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. What an absolutely crazy week it's been for my real estate team, and I'm sure for you guys as well. And so, as usual, I have a lot of great content to share with you all this morning. And, you know, the best word that in my opinion, I can use to describe this time of year, and not really just for us as real estate agents, but for people in general, is just the word crazy. I mean, it's the end of the school year. Most businesses are about as busy now as they're going to be all year. Vacations are coming up. You know, the weather's finally nice, so we have this urge to kind of cut out of work early and get away from the craziness, which obviously backfires on us because we just have to catch up on the mayhem that's caused by not being in the office. Probably 6 dozen other scenarios I've neglected to mention. But if you throw selling and or buying a house into the mix, it only exacerbates the kind of emotional challenges we already face when making a major life change like buying or selling a home. So the first thing I want to talk about today is how you can reduce stress and in some cases kind of just detach emotionally when selling and or buying a house. And I'd like to shed some light as well a little later on in this program about home warranties, which can obviously help you repair, replace appliances and systems in your home or rental property, but don't enter into an agreement until you've asked some very important questions to make sure you're actually getting what you're paying for. And I'm going to give you those questions and those things to think about here in just a little while. And finally, I've got some exciting news that I'd like to share, and we'll wait till the very end of the program for that. But if this is your first time tuning into this show, this is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. It's designed to help you better understand the current state of the real estate market, as well as help you become more educated in the process of buying, selling, and investing in real estate. So my name is Brian Beatty. I've been on this program for about 5 years now. I've been selling real estate for about 12 here in Charleston. My team and I have represented about 1,000 buyers and sellers. We've done about $500 million worth of real estate volume here in the market. So I take my experiences, my knowledge, my stories of the market and of my interactions within it, and I share them with you so that you become more informed when it comes time to buy and sell a home. Now, I am in the office. I was going to say in the office. Gosh, it's been such a long week. What a crazy week in the office it was for us. But no, I'm in the studio. So I am here taking your calls today. If you guys have questions, comments, a story you'd like to share, feel free to give me a call here in the studio. The number here is 843-556-1250. Again, 843-556-1250. Now, if you'd like to reach out to me personally, you have an interest in buying, selling, or investing in real estate, feel free to give me a call directly. That number is 843-345-1273. Again, 843-345-1273 is my cell. Call or text that number, or visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. listingsincharleston.com. So let's talk first about how to kind of detach emotionally from the home buying and the home selling process. And let's talk about selling a home first. Then we'll talk later about the emotions involved with buying a home and how you can kind of remain objective and rational rather than letting too much emotion just alter your decision-making process and cause you to behave erratically. And so, many people, you probably have a very deep emotional connection to your house. That's where your kids grew up. It's, you still see the pencil marks on the trim on the door frame, kind of marking their growth. You spent a lot of time on that back patio during happy hour, or, a lot of time in the dining room at Thanksgiving and Christmas, whatever the case might be. And so maybe even you grew up in the house. I was talking to a person last week that had lived in that house for over 50 years. It was a house that their parents built. And so obviously you're fortunate to have so many amazing memories in your house. But when it comes time to sell it, this love affair that you have with your house can at times work against you. And unfortunately, we've seen this quite a bit. It's just, fairly often people will make decisions about selling their house based on emotion instead of reason. And what they're really doing is kind of subconsciously sabotaging their chance for success. And that can cost them money in the end. So here are some tips that I've put together. And, I was just thinking about this because I was talking to my wife last night about, what I can talk about on this show this weekend. And I really want to just kind of do a show centered around human nature. We can do all of this planning. We can talk until we're blue in the face about what we're going to do and how it's going to be a great business transaction. But there is no such thing as a stress-free real estate transaction, and it is almost impossible to remove emotion entirely from the process of buying or selling real estate. And, what's the first step to kind of fixing a problem? It's identifying that you have a problem, right? And so I think the first thing you need to do is acknowledge that selling a house is going to be stressful. Now, obviously, a really good real estate agent is going to help you reduce that stress, but some people just think about it this way. Think about the people that are really emotionally attached to their cars and have a hard time selling them. To get an idea of what it's like selling a home that you're really emotionally attached to, basically magnify that reaction by 100. And so those that have been in their home a really long time, that have those memories, it's more challenging for them. Those that maybe bought their home a year or two ago, they don't really have all of those connections, and to them, it's just a house. It's not necessarily a home. So, either way, it's a stressful and emotional transaction. And so I think acknowledging that up front is just going to make things better and going to help you think more rationally and have it lead toward better decisions down the road. Again, we're talking about the emotional concept of selling real estate. We're going to talk, of course, about buying real estate next. But I'm in the studio here. If you have a story you'd like to share or perhaps a question, doesn't necessarily have to be about this topic, but I'm in the studio. Would love an opportunity to talk to you if you do have a real estate question. So the number here in the studio is 843-556-1250. Again, 556-1250. So, first thing I mentioned was, look, let's acknowledge that it's going to be stressful. And then the second thing is, let's make sure that you're actually ready to sell your house. Take the time to ensure you're emotionally prepared to sell. Talk to your real estate agent. Listen carefully to their suggestions. If you've hired a really good real estate agent, you've interviewed them, they are competent, they sell a bunch of homes, they've got a good marketing plan, everything checks out, and they're giving you sound advice, and you are resistant to their suggestions, that's a clue that you're not ready to let go of your house. If that's the case, just don't sell it yet. Just don't move. I always ask this question when my team and I sit down with a seller, and I ask them, if we sold your home in the next 3 weeks, would that pose a problem for you? And it's a legitimate question because our median days on market is 19 days right now. Now, obviously, we've got plenty of homes that take longer than that. We have plenty of homes that sell in 2-3 days. But if somebody, decides to put their home on the market and they're not yet emotionally ready to sell, they haven't gotten their ducks in a row, then that's going to create problems for them. So obviously part of my job as a real estate agent is to help them plan and make sure that we have realistic expectations, of course, and then execute a plan to get the job done. But if they're not emotionally ready to negotiate and sell the property, then just don't put it on the market at all. That's my suggestion there. Just wait until you're ready. And maybe you have no choice but to sell, which can be even more difficult emotionally if you think about it. Get as much support as you can from your friends and from your family and talk through things rationally. And of course, just be honest with your real estate agent about how difficult this might be for you. The more information you give the agent, I promise you, the more they are going to work around these problems that you have and try and create solutions for you. The challenge is that so many times, sellers don't even talk to their agent about stuff like this. They want to have more technical or systematic conversations. They want to have market-based conversations. They want to ask, hey, what was the feedback? Very few agents really connect emotionally with their clients, and that's just the honest truth. And it's an emotional time. You would think that, us being salespeople, we would have learned how to connect emotionally with people, yet so many of us don't. And having said that, my job as a real estate agent when hired by a seller, which is what we're discussing right now, is to be their consultant. I'm not I don't exist to be a salesman to them. I might have to push and prod at times and help them understand where I'm coming from and why a decision that may be uncomfortable is ultimately the right decision for them. In my opinion, it's not my choice. It's my opinion. They're the ones that are in control of the conversation. But I'm here to be a consultant, not a salesman to my clients. I'm a salesman to everybody else in representation of my client. So anyways, the whole point there is just make sure you're emotionally ready. And then you need to start thinking about your house as a product. When you haven't detached from your home, it's difficult to see it as a product, but that's what it is. You know, something that you have to sell and that with luck will be something people want to buy. I mean, you can only get it, you can only get in your way by not thinking about this as a product. In other words, if you're going to insist that you're going to live in your home in such a way that's comfortable for you, and you're not going to take into account the fact that maybe it doesn't make sense to have your lazy boy recliner slid in front of the TV in the family room with a coffee table in front of you, and you know that's your like bachelor pad room. You know, you have to think about staging. You know, obviously you have to think about pricing too. You know, there have been so many instances where a home was on and off the market for, let's say, over a year or sometimes years with multiple real estate agents and approaches to selling it because what started off as an overpriced home that didn't show well ended up selling for a bargain to a buyer because those buyers capitalized on the seller's mistakes, quite frankly. So one way to help this is by having a professional stager or decorator come through your home to give you a fresh perspective on what buyers want and how you can alter your home's appearance to cater to them, not to you. See, most of the time, this is as basic as taking down, you know, personal items, diplomas, at sometimes removing a few pictures. I'm not one of those agents, by the way, that's going to tell you to remove every single family photo you've ever had in your house and have it look like a barren wasteland. If you've got a, you know, shrine dedicated to your children that's in the middle of your family room, then yes, that's a distraction. We don't want to create distractions, but we also want it to be a home. So I don't need you to take down every single personal photo you have. But you also might need to take down, you know, all the knickknacks you picked up on your African safari 10 years ago when in your war room that's supposed to be a bedroom. You know, I've seen so many crazy things over the years, my God. But, you know, the way that my real estate team helps people prepare their home for sale to think of it as a product, not necessarily as their home anymore, is by bringing in a stager and a decorator. If you list your house with my real estate team, the Brian Beatty team of Keller Williams Realty, then we will pay for a free consultation to have a stager and decorator come in, look at the things that you already have inside your home, rearrange some furniture, declutter, maybe go so far as to talk about things that we can do to improve the condition of your home. You know, maybe we discuss a few potential repairs or, you know, areas that might need to be painted, do a little landscaping, so on and so forth. But we offer that for free for anybody that hires my real estate team. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to give me a call and we'll start talking about this process. And I have a bunch of other offers that I'm going to be mentioning throughout the course of this program. But if you want to know everything that we do and everything we offer as it relates to helping people sell a home, feel free to go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com, or give me a call at 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. When we come back, we're going to continue our discussion about the emotional toll it can take on you when buying or selling a home. We're going to talk about buying a home next. Again, if you have questions, comments, a story to share, feel free to call me here in the studio. I'm live taking your calls, 843-556-1250. Stick around. We'll be right back for more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Visit Brian Beatty's website at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. 1250 WTMA. You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Welcome back, Charleston. Thanks again for tuning into the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. I'm your host, Brian Beatty, and we're talking this morning about the emotional toll that it takes on you when you buy and sell a home. And if you're just tuning in, we were just talking about how to, avoid some of those emotional issues when selling a house. And now we're going to talk about some of the things that you can do as a buyer to prepare yourself emotionally and prevent yourself from making irrational decisions based on emotion and looking at this more as a business transaction. And if you have trouble doing that, then of course, that's what a real estate agent is for, is to help look at the business side of things, to detach emotionally from the process, protect your best interests, make sure you're making a wise investment and purchasing something that you can sell down the road and not be, way over your head in. Or at least try our best to do that. Now, I'm in the studio. I'm taking your calls. If you have a question or comment, something real estate related, doesn't have to be what we're talking about. Maybe you have a question about, investments or selling a home, buying a home, whatever the case might be. The number here in the studio is 843-556-1250. Again, that's 843-556-1250. Now, if you'd like to reach out to me personally, you're thinking about buying or selling some real estate or investing in real estate in the area, we work with all kinds of folks. We sell about 200 homes a year here in the Charleston area. So feel free to give me a call personally or text me at 843-345-1273. Again, that's 843-345-1273. Or visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. I did mention last program that if you're going to list your home with us, that we're going to pay for a free 2-hour staging consultation so that you can have a professional decorator and stager come through your house and tell you what you need to do, if anything, to prepare your home for sale. And I've got a few other offers for you a little bit later on in the program, but let's continue our discussion about some emotional mistakes that buyers make when purchasing a property. And so real estate agents, like myself, say that emotional mistakes happen all the time among home buyers who end up overpaying for their quote-unquote dream home because they've kind of let their feelings get in the way of their judgment. Buyers shouldn't beat themselves up for getting emotional, first and foremost. Let me just say that buying a house is probably one of, if not one of the most emotional decisions and purchases that a person can make. I'm not, of course, talking about like having children and getting married and all of that stuff, but in the course of kind of everyday life, it's a huge step, especially when you buy or sell your first property. And so you need somebody in your corner that can counsel you to make sure that you're making wise decisions and purchasing a smart investment, not an emotionally driven impulse buy. And so there are some mistakes that I've seen some folks make over the years, and it changes with the market. I'll just say it that way. In a declining market, a buyer's market, we're in a seller's market right now, obviously, but in a buyer's market, and even to an extent in a seller's market, one of the big mistakes that we see people make is just kind of always looking for a better deal. The grass is always greener. If I don't get exactly what I want, then I'm going to move on to the next one. And sometimes that strategy works, but if you're in a rush to purchase a property, if you have any sort of time constraints associated with the move, then it's a very challenging, strategy. But, even in the best of markets, we can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't promise you that a bigger, better, less expensive home won't come on the market the day after you close. Markets fluctuate, and it's just always going to be a part of real estate transactions. So be smart, do your homework, know the value of the area and the home you're buying, and just make sure that it fits your needs. And if you're really happy with it and everything works out, you check all your boxes, then move forward. But the second thing that I want to say here is just make sure you don't do it too fast. Okay? Don't necessarily fall in love at first sight. I know that that's impossible to avoid, but it's really easy in this market to trick yourself into thinking that, oh, I love this home, because of the fact that there's not very much out there. Okay, we kind of at times use this lack of inventory to tell ourselves that, all right, well, I know there's not going to be anything out there that's probably a perfect match for me, so if I get close, then I'm going to pull the trigger. And with all really with all honesty, for the most part, that should be your approach, but I think sometimes we kind of discount our own wants and needs, and we just settle because we're excited about the process. And again, because this is an emotional process. So if you jump on the first or second home that you see without exhausting options, then that's really what leads to buyer's remorse. And what's very interesting is that when we show properties to buyers, we have learned that buyers tend to prefer a process of elimination rather than a process of selection. And if you're just joining us, we're talking about the emotional side of buying and selling real estate. And I'm in the studio, and I'm happy to take your call and talk with you anything real estate related. The number here is 843-556-1250. Again, 843-556-1250 for the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show to get on air and ask me a question. But, as I was mentioning, when people buy a house, they really look at it two different ways. They look at it as the process of selection or the process of, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank here. Process of elimination. There we go. Hold on. I'm taking a sip of coffee. It's been a long week. Okay. So what I've found is that most people use the process of elimination. They would rather know what they don't like and focus on that and remove options rather than use the process of selection, stating that I know exactly what I want and I'm only interested in looking at this. The challenge with buyer's remorse is they walk into a house and, the husband and wife are looking at each other, and this happens all the time, and they're like, I really like this house. I mean, I kind of want to live here. I want to buy this place, but we haven't seen but 2 homes, and we had a list of 10 to look at today. And I don't even know anything about, James Island. What if that's an area that we like better? That's where the real estate agent really comes into play, in my opinion. And that's why it's a mistake for you as a buyer to just go out and start looking at properties. So many times buyers will go shopping online on Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com or an agent's website or wherever they go to look for real estate. They find something they like. They call the listing agent or some random agent to show it to them. They end up liking it. They say, okay, yeah, we actually like this place. We're going to make an offer. They buy it, and then they realize, dang it, should have chose James Island or wherever the case is or where the case might be. When you don't have a consultation with a truly experienced real estate agent that understands not just the areas and the intricacies of the areas and the neighborhoods and how to ask the right questions to make sure that we're helping you identify the right areas, but that knows how to find a good deal, knows how to listen to you and help you achieve your goal. If you're not doing that when buying a house, that can lead to buyer's remorse because you're now rushing into a decision and you're banking on the emotion rather than approaching the process with a professional's help. And I think one of the other mistakes people make is overpaying for perfection. In a seller's market, sellers have the ability to deliver a move-in ready product that's marketed well and priced correctly and sell it in a few days, probably get multiple offers on it and get top dollar, and in some instances get above what they actually thought they could sell their house for. And in this market, buyers are willing to pay for that convenience. So every buyer wants the perfect house, but most of the time it just doesn't exist. So on the remote chance that a buyer does find that perfection, the emotional attachment is sometimes so high that the buyer is willing to overpay or overextend themselves to make that purchase, overextend themselves financially. And that's kind of where people get into trouble. And that's where when we see these markets continue to go up and up and up in price and people are extending themselves to the point where it's becoming uncomfortable just to make their mortgage payments, to live in a home, which should not be any more than, frankly, about 30% of your income. But some people are going, 40, 50, they're pushing it as high as they can. Make sure that if it's exactly what you want, then yes, lock it up, get it, buy it. But don't be so emotionally charged about it that you throw reason and strategy out the window and buckle under any opportunity to negotiate. All right. Again, that's what your real estate agent is supposed to be helping you do. And then really the last thing that I would say is that once you find that house that you really like, it is within our nature. There's something inside of all of us telling us, let's just lowball these people. I really like this house. It's perfect. Let's just throw this out there. Let's just see what they do with this. We just can't seem to help ourselves sometimes. And, let's say we've got this home that's $500,000 and it's worth it and it's move-in ready and it's everything that you want. And you call and your buyer agent talks to the listing agent and you find out there are no other offers on the table. And so you decide that it's a good idea to offer them $450,000. Well, I obviously try to coach my sellers not to get totally pissed off when they get a really low offer on a reasonably priced home in really good condition. And it's extremely hard to avoid that because I want my clients thinking rationally and I want to take advantage of every opportunity to get a really good deal on a piece of property, whether it's buying or selling. But as a buyer, if you're going to make an unrealistic offer and it's an unrealistic offer and that the sellers are in a position where they're just not going to take that kind of deal, don't do yourself the disservice of irritating the seller to the point where they're now going to become unreasonable and irrational as well throughout the course of negotiating this contract and then from contract to closing. It just sets the tone for a very challenging transaction rather than it being friendly and being friendly but not being their friend is a term that I use with my clients and my team's clients, in that, hey, I want to be easy to work with, but I'm not here to be your friend. And of course, talking about the other party. I'm not talking about my client. Hey, we'll be friends all day long. But as a listing agent representing a seller, it's not my responsibility to be the buyer agent's friend. It's my responsibility to be friendly, but my responsibility is to my client, not to make this as easy as a transaction as possible for the other party. So I feel like I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth, but the point here is that if you're going to make a lowball offer, you're going to irritate the seller, you're going to irritate the other agent, you're going to appear as though that you're somebody that doesn't think rationally or that might expect too much, has unrealistic expectations, and even if they take the contract and you start moving toward closings, maybe when you get the home inspection, you're the type of buyer that wants every little thing fixed. Maybe that's not the type of person they want to deal with. Maybe they would just rather negotiate and give you, an extra $1,000 so that you could deal with the issue. So lowball offers really do run the risk of obviously being rejected, and then kind of closing the door for additional negotiation. And then you as the buyer are now bidding against yourself to try and figure out at what price the seller will respond. Because the reality of the situation is you like that house, you want to buy it. Now you're in a guessing game as to what price you should offer to try and even get the seller to respond. So my suggestion, of course, is to make a competitive offer, have it be researched, and have it be justified. Attach a letter to it or have your agent state why you're offering what you're offering. And maybe that's an emotional reason. It doesn't always have to be supported by facts and figures. So I tell you what, when we come back, I want to talk about home warranties. I want you to have the information to help you judge for yourself whether you should be getting a home warranty or not, whether it's your primary residence or a rental property, whatever it might be. But a lot more information to share right here on the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Again, I'm in the studio, so reach out to me if you have a question or comment. The number in the studio, 843-556-1250. Stick around, Charleston. We'll be right back.
Hear the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show every Saturday morning at 9 and each Sunday morning at 10 on 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. 1250 WTMA. Now, the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues on Charleston's Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back, Charleston. Thanks again for tuning in to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Again, in the studio, taking your calls if you have a question or a comment or a story you'd like to share. Anything real estate related, happy to have a discussion with you guys, answer your questions. The number here in the studio is 843-556-1250. Again, 843-556-1250. 1250. Now, if you'd like to reach out to me personally and talk about buying or selling real estate, there's a question I can answer for you. We obviously get phone calls from folks that say, hey, I have a general knowledge question, or do you have a good contractor or a handyman that I can connect with? We're happy to help with those types of things. So feel free to give me a call personally. My number is 843-345-1273. That's my cell, 345-1273. Of course, go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. So I want to switch gears for a little bit and just talk about home warranties and how you can kind of judge for yourself as to whether purchasing one makes sense for you. And if you've bought a house recently, you might have purchased or have received a home warranty from the seller. And home warranties, first and foremost, they are not insurance policies. I want to make this very clear. They are service contracts, all right? And so just like a service contract that offers, say, repairs to your computer, like the previous show on this program, a service contract or a home warranty is a company's agreement to pay for fixing and in some instances replacing certain home components. And so a basic home warranty, I mean, it's somewhere around $400, $500 a year. Typically covers things like kitchen appliances and plumbing and your hot water heater, your HVAC system and components, maybe sump pump, Whirlpool tubs, ceiling and exhaust fans, so on and so forth. And you can enhance these plans for a few $100s more. Sometimes it's just $75. Sometimes it's $300, and it can add things like your washer and dryer, or certain parts of your HVAC system, or your fridge, garage door opener, and pools and septic systems and all that stuff. But if someone has given you a home warranty as part of negotiations in a contract, then obviously take it. I mean, it's free. Just understand that even if someone gives you a free home warranty, rather than you footing the bill for it, which is usually done, it's a one-time fee, and if it's at closing, then it's at the seller's expense, and you receive a 1-year service contract, essentially, on your house. Having said that, you are going to be liable for a service fee anytime you use this home warranty, which usually runs somewhere between $50 and $100. It depends on the company. So before you buy a home warranty for yourself, you have to learn what sort of coverage you might already have. Like, as an example, if you're buying a brand new house, the home appliances and the systems, they're going to have their own manufacturer warranties. New construction also has kind of what we refer to as bumper to bumper warranties. You're going to have a punch list 1 year out, and they're going to take care of almost everything in your house for up to a year. And, just like in South Carolina, I'm sure many other states have this same stipulation where in South Carolina, builders are going to provide a 10-year structural warranty for your properties. So you start to see things like sediment cracks, or, you have some sort of foundation issue, they're going to warranty your structure for 10 years. And, another kind of helpful tip or hack, if you will, is to use credit cards, actually, that extend the product's warranty when you're buying things like furnishings or appliances. I mean, that can add as much as an extra year worth of protection. So something important for you to know there. So, is a home warranty right for you is kind of the question that you're probably asking yourself. And so sellers might offer, like as I was mentioning earlier, sellers might offer a year worth of coverage as an incentive to potential buyers. And, sometimes real estate agents throw in a home warranty as a gift to clients as a thank you for maybe buying and selling a home through them. And, some buyers of older homes really want those in their contracts because they don't know when things like the HVAC are going to go out. But some decide that, look, it's just better for me to not have to pay $600 a year and save that money and bank it and then pay for something when it actually needs to be repaired. Which is a sound strategy, quite frankly. And again, we're talking about home warranties, but if you have any question or comment or story that you'd like to share or ask of me, I am in the studio. I'm here to take your calls. The number here is 843-556-1250. 556-1250. So one way to think about whether or not you need a home warranty is really just to think about your needs. You need to compare the age of each covered item with the average lifespan of that item. And so I have a free resource for you. And I did this last night in preparation of the show. If you guys go to my website, listingsincharleston.com, that's listingsincharleston.com. If you click on the blog section, the blog at the very top of the page at listingsincharleston.com details the predicted life expectancy of appliances and products and materials and systems and components of your home for homes that are built in the southeastern coastal region of the United States. So it's going to give you the expected or the predicted life expectancy of almost everything inside your house so that you can kind of determine for yourself, all right, if my HVAC system is 13 years old, how long are these things supposed to last? You can go to my website and you can get that question answered. And that goes for everything from the HVAC to hardwood flooring to your roof, your wood siding, your paint, your caulking, all of that stuff. Listingsincharleston.com. Go to the blog section. It's all right there. And so, you know, if you have some expensive components to your house that are near or past their life expectancy, a home warranty might be a good idea, obviously. You also have to understand, though, that, and you need to really read the fine print here, because some of these home warranties typically exclude items that have pre-existing conditions. So you really need to make sure and vet the company before purchasing a home warranty from them. I mean, do your research, read online reviews, read stories posted by people that kind of went through a specific issue that relates to you, good, bad, or indifferent. And I can tell you this, if you go online looking for negative reviews of home warranty companies, kind of in an effort to better understand what you're about to get yourself into, there is no shortage of bad reviews posted by consumers about home warranty companies. I mean, buckle up, strap in, because it's a wild ride with some of the things these people write. The vendors they choose, the quality of the repairs that were made, the quality of the products they use to replace components. I mean, it's a little crazy, and I do have a story to share myself. But I tell you what we're going to do before I share those stories is we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons of home warranties, share my story to help you better understand what can happen, of course, the benefits and the disadvantages. And we still have a few minutes left, so if you have that real estate question you've been thinking of, a comment or a story to share, only a few minutes left to get it in. So 843-556-1250 is the number here in the studio. Stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. We'll be right back.
More stimulating talk on real estate matters with Brian Beatty next on 1250 WTMA. 1250 WTMA. Expert news and views on the Lowcountry real estate scene. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back, Charleston, to the last few minutes of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. A few minutes left. If you have a question or a comment for me, the number here in the studio, 843-556-1250. 843-556-1250. Now, if you want to speak with me personally off air about your interest in buying or selling a home, or, of course, investing in real estate, which we hope a lot of people do, I myself do, in a few different ways, then call me personally. My number is 843-345-1273. Again, 345-1273. Or visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. I do want to get these announcements out of the way really quickly, and then we'll go back and talk about home warranties here. But just want to give you guys an update on the offers that I'm extending to my radio show listeners. And, of course, earlier in the program, I told you that if you hire my team, we will offer a free 2-hour staging consultation where we'll have a professional decorator stager come through your house and tell you everything that you need to do to prepare it for sale. It will help us. It will give us a game plan for putting your home in the best light so that we can sell it for the most money. Of course, if you've heard my commercials on here, you know that if you hire my team, we will pay for a free pre-listing home inspection so that we can identify anything that might need to be repaired. And if you can make the repairs, then we'll use our preferred contractors who give us a really good deal on things and do quality work to fix those things inexpensively and correctly. Or if we don't have the money to make those repairs, then we'll just incorporate that into our pricing strategy. But I also want to share that I just became the president of the International Builder Trade-In Program. So I'm the only person in Charleston that has this designation. And what that means is that if you want to purchase a new construction property and you need to sell your home first, or if you live in a property and you don't want to sell it but you want to rent it out, we have all sorts of benefits now that we can extend to you. So one of them might be that you really want to buy this new construction home and you want some sort of guarantee that your home will sell. Well, an investor group that works with the International Builder Trade-In Program literally wants to buy 1,000 homes this year. And so they guarantee they will purchase your property and can close in 10 days, and it's usually for 12 to 15% off of fair market value. Just a heads up, not the 30 to 40% that some of these other agents are going to offer you with their guaranteed sale program. The other thing that we can do is we can buy you out of your lease to help you purchase a new construction property. If you own the property and you don't want to sell it, then they have a 6-year guaranteed lease program. They will put a tenant into your property for 6 years. They'll manage it on your behalf. They'll make repairs on your behalf, and it will allow you to build some wealth in real estate. And there's a few other benefits that I'd love to share with you guys. So again, 843-345-1273 is my number if you want more information. If you're considering buying a new construction home and you have a home to sell, all different ways or sorts of ways we can help you. So, and of course, listingsincharleston.com is the website. So let me get back to this discussion on home warranties with just a few minutes left. Obviously the pros, let's just do the pros and cons here. The pros are that, buyers who purchase a previously owned home inherit used appliances and home systems with wear and tear on them. So a home warranty can help cover the cost if things break down. So as an example, I had an investment property I purchased back in 2006, and at the time it had a brand new HVAC system in it. And a few years after I bought it, 2009 I think, the air handler was in such poor shape that it needed to be replaced. It couldn't even be repaired, which I was just shocked to hear. But thankfully, my wife and I got a home warranty on it. So we got an entirely new air handler for like $75. And it was this huge success story that we told people for years, and we were all about it. And this takes me to the cons of the home warranty, which I'll finish that story in just a second. But for a lot of homeowners, there's a wide gap between what the customer expects and what these plans actually deliver. So before you buy a home warranty, you really need to read the contract and understand exactly what it does and does not cover. So as an example, some contracts do not provide coverage if you didn't maintain the appliance, or the appliance was installed incorrectly, or if the appliance just has too much wear and tear on it. And if you haven't read the agreement carefully and in its entirety, just be prepared for surprises. Don't assume that your policy is going to be, it's going to replace a faulty component. You cannot call someone to do the work yourself and then send this company the bill. And the warranty will cover only a portion of the cost at times. It's not always going to cover the entire cost. I mean, in some cases, the warranty is just going to cover a fraction of the repair cost. So, find out what's covered and what the warranty provides, and there may be exclusions and limitations. Perhaps the fridge is covered, but the ice maker isn't. Claims might be rejected because of pre-existing problems. So anyways, back to the story that I was telling you. We got our air handler replaced for like $75. It usually costs about $3,000, and that was awesome. Well, guess what? 3 years later, it broke. Straight up broke. Brand new air handler. The problem is we had no control over the materials used by the home warranty company, and apparently the air handler was one that came out of Florida when they had major flooding about a decade ago. And these companies were selling all sorts of HVAC systems and appliances at major discounts, and these home warranty companies were scooping them up at a few cents on the dollar, putting them in people's homes, and then they were crapping out in a few years. And I think that's what happened to us. So our $75 air handler lasted us 3 years, which was cool, but then we had to pay for our own because we got rid of the home warranty. We thought we didn't need one. So anyways, If you list your home with my team, my last offer here is that we will offer you a home warranty during the course of the listing. Okay, at no expense. So thanks so much for tuning in to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Again, if you want to reach out to me, 345-1273 is my cell and my website, listingsincharleston.com. Have a great weekend, and thanks again for tuning in.
Join us for another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show next Saturday morning at 9 and Sunday morning at 10. Contact Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. 843-345-1273.